This is that one song that you heard so many times, and every time you hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song. But then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry. Yeah. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know. Yeah. Whoa. East Coast with that gang, gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin', right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast gon' ahead, stand up, put that glass and hands up. Gang, 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 we famed up, got that change, we bagged up. Crew love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm Wheezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy, drip so sick I'm queasy, whoa. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. Yeah. Watch me finesse, walk to the line. Good versus evil, God in his prime. Always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine, wifey is fine. I'm doing fine, glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you were all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
The following program is rated TV MANOC. It contains a big pair of nuts directly on your chin. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
The Second Amendment, like all other rights, is not absolute.
Shit is gonna go down.
We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
Would that include a bullet from this gun?
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, you ain't black.
Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death.
What is fat activism?
I, a fat person, am sharing my own lived experience.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Your fat phobia is your problem.
It is not my place as a smaller-bodied white man to comment on it.
Radical body positivity.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
There's only one man who can help me.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
This day we fight!
If in the name of the Flornormouth.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testicles. Ooh, welcome everyone to episode 24 hundo and 66 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, beaches, booshes, busters, hustlers, and yahoos? It's your boy, Papa Swolio, back with another episode. Today's episode, the Beastcast, is brought to you, is powered by Everest and K2 Flex and an all-you beach.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer.
The fucking Catalina wine mixer.
What's going on, fam? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Red, White, and Swole Sunday Fun Day Q and Anus. We take pure questions today. Make sure you check all the links in the show notes below to learn about memberships to the Swole fam over at swolenormousx.com. We have all the programs, everything to crush your 7 pillars over there. We got some free downloads, some free classes, the blog, everything. Go check it out, swolenormousx.com. And of course, before you go anywhere or do anything, before you sit back, kick back, pinch your nips, get your coffee, get your bone broth out, make sure that you hit that like button, especially those of you that are watching on the YouTubes. Hit that fucking like button and let's go.
Fuck yeah!
All right, hit that like button, share the stream, and you can start dropping your questions in the comments down below. Hashtag Ask Papa Swolio. We will take some calls, but of course, we are a little bit light on calls today, so we'll get into a lot more live questions on Instagram. If you have a question and you want to call in at any time, 24 hours, 3 hundo, and 65 days a year, you can go and submit a question, and we'll get to it in an upcoming episode. Just head on over to askpapaswolio.com to submit a question. And of course, leave us a 5-star review, Apple Podcast, Spotify, especially anywhere you bang your ear holes. And let's give a nice little happy birthday to Jessica. Happy birthday to you. We hope you make sick fucking games. She writes, fam, I'm happy to be spending the morning of my 43rd birthday with you all. I'm in the best shape of my life. Thanks to finding this group and feeling stronger every day. Thank you. Execute more. Fantastic. Happy birthday, you swole slut. Happy fucking birthday. Glad to hear it. How's the steak treating you? All right, let's get this party started. A lot of you are dropping the hashtag in the comments already. We'll give away the swole card at the end of today's episode. Let's summon the Falcon and get today's party started. Here we go. Ow. Hells yeah. Hells yeah. Had to fix Tessie's hair. All right, hashtag execute more. Drop that in the comments down below. We'll give that swole card away at the end of today's episode. And I have a feeling it is gearing up to be an epic one. Hashtag execute more. All right, let's spit on it. No, we don't spit on it today. Now we just get into some questions. All right, I know you guys like it. I know. We'll spit on it on Tuesday. Before we get into questions, a reminder, this is our last live stream of the week, but of course we have another one tomorrow. But if you're not a member, you will miss out on it. Tomorrow is our accountability meeting. We have it at it's the 6th. Tomorrow is February the 6th at 12 noon Eastern time. Let me just get that bad boy up here. So make sure that when you join the fam tomorrow, I will text you. I will give you an alert. I will notify you on Telegram and Discord and text message. But 12 noon Eastern time, you can just open up your account, log in, and then right there on your homepage, you'll see a button to join the accountability meeting, and the app will open. So make sure that you are ready for that. 12 noon Eastern time, we got new releases, we got Swole fan posts, and we'll take some private Q&A from members. Maybe we'll have some calls and stuff like that. So it'll be a good time. Best way to start off the week, tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time. So heads up about that. Tomorrow's episode will be private for members only. And if you're not happy about that, then join the fam, and then you won't miss a single private live stream. And I highly recommend that you do so, because the Swole fam is the fucking tits. Do I have it? I do. Also, last Friday, 2 days ago, Jesus Christ, seems like a fucking long time ago, during overtime, we dropped our brand new Drive Mulgaining uncensored in our overtime segment. And this will not be posted publicly. So if you're not a member, you'll be missing out on it. But check it out. Sims Goes Woke, top surgery for everyone. And very, very exciting.
As you can see, my nipples have been removed
Indeed.
from my body. Where they are, I don't know.
Well, they're in this episode. We located those nips. They're in this episode. So make sure you go and check out the overtime. Check out the Drive Mulgaining. For members only. It's fire. We do a lot of what we do a new DWG every single week, and some of them get posted publicly after, of course, Swole fam gets them first, but many of them, most of them, I would say, can't be posted on the public platform. So enjoy all those uncensored Drive Mulgainings inside Swole TV, exclusively for you, the Swole fam, because you fucking deserve it. You fucking deserve it. You deserve it. DWG in 2023. Now let's get a little round of applause. We got the Tainty Man, and we have the church, the Tainty, and the church. She's so cute. She's so cute. You're too hot. You don't want to be tucked in. All right, fair enough. Now it's time for questions. Drop in the comments down below. Hashtag Ask Papa Swirlio. Ask Papa Swirlio. Let's see. We got one earlier from Johnny Eaton. Papa Swolio, do you use toe covers in the cold plunge? What the fuck is a toe cover? Like a sock? I've never heard of it. What's a toe cover? They just cover your toes? Jesus Christ. No, I don't. Why would I do that? I get my hands in there too. It's cold. But you're only in there for a couple of minutes, so you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Toe covers. Why would you use a toe cover? Okay, Carson, Papa Swolio, mobility to help sciatica pain. At the moment, the person I'm asking for is very limited in movement due to being postpartum 1 week. Thanks as always. Well, I mean, there seems like most likely there's a lot of other issues with nutrition and previous fitness before pregnancy, and who knows, have them refer to their therapists or their doctors. Postpartum 1 week depends on what their personal situation is, but there's lots of good exercise to help with sciatic pain. Yoga is fantastic. Always yoga. There's postpartum yoga. We do have postnatal yoga inside Swolenormous X. So you could also Google stuff online if she doesn't want to join and become a member. But yoga is a great place to start as long as she's medically cleared for exercise. And this is why, ladies, if you're thinking about getting pregnant, you want to be in tip-top shape before you do so, because you don't want to start new things while you're pregnant. If you've never trained before, you don't want to add new stress, but it's going to help you throughout and after your pregnancy if you are in good shape and you're taking care of yourself and doing everything you should be ahead of time. Very hard to recommend that one specific that person does without me knowing the details and without knowing any other issues. So always want to refer to whomever is guiding her in her medically guiding her. And personally, I'm not a fan of hospital situations for births. Like, we plan on doing everything natural and at home and stuff like that. But, this is why you want to take care of yourself and prepare that way. Not saying that this is a result of not taking care of herself, but it'll mitigate those types of risks if you are training and lifting and doing yoga and stuff like that before you go through that. So sorry to hear about it, but, yeah, if she's limited in movement to being postpartum 1 week, that's kind of the answer right there. She's too fresh off the chopping block. Probably not a good idea to jump back into it right away. I'm sure she's probably recommended not to. Okay. Jay, you're on the line. Ooh, it's getting hot. I'm going to have to get these nips out.
Papa Swolio, what do you do to skip leg days?
What do I what? What do I do to skip leg days? What? Did anyone else pick up on that? Let's say it one more time.
Papa Swolio, what do you do to skip leg days?
What do I do to skip leg days? I'm just going to skip that question because I know it's English as a second language, I'm sure, but what do I do to skip leg days? What do I do to not skip leg days? What do I do to train legs? What do I do to skip leg days? I don't. I never do. I never will. So that's like the perfect wording to just completely not get an answer because I don't really know exactly what you're trying to ask. So please call back in and ask a friend or something if you need to refine what you're trying to ask. Why? Like, don't skip leg days. I don't ever. Johnny, coaches had me use toe covers in cold plunge to keep the frostbite away. Based on your response, they were being overprotective. What coaches? Toe covers? I've never heard of a toe cover. And you're not going to get frostbite if you're in there for 2 or 3 minutes. You know how cold it has to be and how long you have to be in cold water for frostbite? I mean, if you're in water at 35 degrees or 40 degrees for 2 or 3 minutes, you're not going to get frostbite. Maybe if you're in there for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, you can have issues. But why would you do it that long? You don't need to. It was probably something legal, I suppose, if it was in school or liability issues, but definitely overprotective. How long were you in there for? There is a risk, of course, if you're in there for a long time, or you're someone who has extremely poor blood circulation, but that going that cold wouldn't be a good idea anyway. There'd be other things that you should probably be doing, or, you know. All right, let's take another question. Interesting start to the Ask Papa Swolio Live. Very interesting start. 25 minutes. Well, that's completely unnecessary. Yeah, that makes sense. 25 minutes. What temperature? Why would you be doing it for 25 minutes? That's ridiculous. I've never done a cold plunge for 25 minutes. I have no intention of ever doing that. I just do it for like 2 or 3 minutes in the morning. It's plenty. It's plenty. All right, let's see. Wing Loktan. Papa Swolio, what is your favorite animal? Pussy! Oh, all right. Stupid question. All right, Andrew Corbin, hair product, question mark. I wash it once a week, maybe. I'm not the person to ask for this because Mama Swolio put something in my hair last night because we put on a new shower filter and we're testing it out. So I washed myself with it. It was nice. It was a nice shower filter. I don't know what she did. It was some leave-in conditioner thing. No phthalates, no parabens. It's a really good product. But it comes down to, honestly, if you are eating and sleeping and taking care of your health and getting sun and doing all those things that most people don't do, your hair, skin, and nails will improve. So it really comes down to healthy proteins and fats and collagen and things like that. But when it comes to any kind of shampoo and conditioner, you want to get as natural products as you can. No phthalates, no parabens. You don't want any artificial fragrances and dyes and things like that. But when it comes to hair, skin, and nails, a lot of people think, and when it comes to, hey, skin, what do you do for your skin? I eat well and I get sleep. So when it comes to, of course, I use jojoba oil. It's really great topically for skin. But a lot of people ask about, they think skin comes from what you put on it. It's quite the opposite. It comes from what you're putting inside your body and how you're taking care of yourself. Same thing with hair, skin, and nails. Now there's genetics too, but a lot of people would dramatically improve all those things by making better lifestyle choices. KitProf17, how long have you been going to the fucking gym? I've been training for over 20 years. So at this point, 24 years or so, 23 years-ish, 23, something like that. Long enough to fuck your mother. Okay.
Is this a list of things I did to your mom last night?
Okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. Small fan mug. All right. Ray Lopez, Papa Soy, what are your thoughts on, is this a type, Gotis? Civ 3, what? I don't know what you're talking, who is this? Who is that? I've never heard of this person. He says that everyone should only eat raw meat and to avoid water at all cost. This person doesn't drink water. Okay, I'm going to skip that because I have no idea what a gotis is. Gotis? People, if you think I know the vast majority, like I don't watch content like that online. I mean, I guess you don't know of what I'm aware of, but I don't. I would never, I don't watch most things to have an opinion. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't know who that is. Let's see. Jessica, as someone who spent years selling high-end beauty products, all you need is decent essential oils and a good diet. Seriously. Yeah, a lot of that's just smoke and mirrors, right? Just marketing. Beef tallow soap is fantastic. We're talking about hair, but beef tallow soap is great. Frank, are the hip machines any good or are there more effective exercises? What do you mean? What hip machines? Like adductor and abductor? I never use those. I've never used those. There are a lot of great exercises. I mean, I do a lot of stuff for abductors and adductors. You can do stuff with kettlebells and sliding discs and things like that. I did some this morning just for some mobility. When you say any good, I never really use those machines personally. If you're talking about like the ones that you just like sit on and like spread your legs like that. Why would someone recommend not drinking water? What's the logic behind that? That sounds stupid. Don't drink water. I mean, raw meat. I have some raw meat. Should people not be eating raw meat? I think it depends. I mean, I think there's definitely benefits. I don't think you necessarily have to have it all raw. Hromili? Interesting questions today. It's a mixed bag. We got some good ones. Some are just fucking shit baskets. But what else is new? Hashtag execute more for a chance to win today's Swole card. How do I make my beer belly go away? Jesus Christ. One, you stop being a Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
You stop drinking beer. No alcohol. Get quality sleep. Do an elimination diet. Cut out most inflammatory foods. Cut out anything processed and pasteurized. Pasteurized dairy, go for raw dairy. Make sure you're getting rid of grains, processed sugars, vegetable oils, seed oils. There's a lot of habits that you probably need to shift. So look into our content and elimination diet. Learn how to set proper habits. There's a great book called Atomic Habits, but you need to make sure that you're getting rid of inflammatory foods. I would recommend highly going animal-based or carnivore. And I would also make sure you're getting quality sleep every single night, hydrating, electrolytes, lifting weights. It's going to take time, but you're dealing with chronic inflammation. Leaky gut, beer and alcohol is terrible for the body. All right, let's see. Papa Swolio, what's your current training split? Upper body, lower body. Sometimes it's upper body push. Sometimes it's chest and back. But I'll usually split up legs between quad focused or hamstring, posterior chain focused. But it varies. I do certain things more frequently. I do swinging every day. I do like calves several times a week. So I'm doing a lot of swinging, mace, or club work every day. And then I'll do some resistance depending on what the flow is. But I consistently train. Try to split up a little bit more to increase the frequency. Giovanni, have you heard of the fittest ever grass-fed nose to tail protein blend? If you have, what are your thoughts? I don't know what you mean. What is the fittest ever I don't know what brand is the best, or is that a brand? Anything when it comes to protein powders, I'm super skeptical about even desiccated organ supplements. We give some of them to the dogs and things like that, but I'm still skeptical about it. Like I've taken them before, I don't now, but I'm skeptical about some of those things. I think desiccated can be okay, but just eat the real thing, right? Eat the real thing. So if you're taking a protein and you're spending money on a protein, like a grass-fed protein blend, like just buy liver and eat liver. Just eat bone marrow. Use that money to buy the actual things and eat it. I don't know. I just don't just eat more steak or eat more beef. you're probably spending way more money on that than you could just by eating the things yourself. Just a thought. Just a thought. I don't really know. I don't know what's in it or what the price point is. That's usually a concern. And of course, then you have to weigh the benefits of taking it in that kind of form, which is processed, used with machines. There could be heavy metals in it. There could be, who knows what's really being blended in. Like, you don't know exactly what you're getting, even though it says it. Just saying, you never know. You have to have trust or faith in what is being produced, that you're getting what it says you're getting. Of course, it's in the company's best interest to not poison you, but at the same time, who knows what the quality control. I just think if you're opting for those things instead of getting the whole foods, that's not the approach. That's my point. So you can eat all the steak and red meat you want. It's still good to supplement with creatine because, yes, creatine is found in red meat, but you have to eat so much red meat to get like 5 grams of creatine. Like, I don't even know how much it is, but you're not going to get 5 grams just by eating steak or ground beef every day. So there's benefits to that kind of supplementation. Supplementation should be an addition, but you should be fundamentally getting all these things from your nutrition, from your whole food consumption. So a lot of people look for supplements because, like, hey, cool, it's a lot easier than getting it from whole foods, but it's also not going to be as effective or as beneficial. Okay. Frank, yes, those machines. I have hip and glute imbalances. I'm trying to address them. I would strongly recommend doing like single leg hip bridges, doing lateral tube walking, doing single leg remaining deadlifts, single leg balance, doing like the total body awareness and those exercises. Do the glute awareness program in Swolenormous X. You're better off getting all those things. If you have imbalances, you need to activate the muscles with stabilization exercise and yoga. Those can be somewhat beneficial, but when you take out the stabilization of muscles you're trying to activate, if you have imbalances, you're kind of skipping ahead and not getting all the benefits. Do you do a lot of the stabilization, single leg balance, and suck your stomach in, squeezing your glutes, lateral tube walking? Do you do all those things already too? Have you tried the glute awareness program in X in the vault? Jose, is there a particular workout and or weight machines you can recommend for man boobs? No, there's no exercise that's going to target man boobs. You can't spot reduce fat. Man boobs are coming from hormone imbalances and estrogenics in your environment. Jose, I would recommend getting the book and reading it. It's called Estrogeneration. It's in my bookstore on my Amazon store if you're a member. It's called Estrogeneration. I would also recommend looking into the elimination diet, getting better sleep, and getting rid of a lot of the phthalates and parabens and deodorants, colognes, all these fragrances in your environment that will layer and interrupt your body's internal messaging system, which is your endocrine system. And that's all a component. The food, the lifestyle habits, the sleep. So like, what's your nutrition like? All these things are leading to you having what's commonly referred to as bitch tits, because that's not normal for a man. Men should not have boobs, obviously. But it happens, unfortunately, but you can target it with proper lifestyle changes. It takes time, and you have to learn and educate yourself and keep on doubling down on it.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Feel free to follow up and let us know like what you're eating, what your nutrition is like, and all that stuff. Cal, I've never had beef heart before. What's the best way to cook it for the first time? Well, I've only cooked it one way because I just have it raw now. I just chop it up like the liver and I thaw it and I just chew it, swallow it. It's delicious raw if you have good heart. But you can soften it up a little bit by soaking it in balsamic vinaigrette overnight. And then you do like a light sear on both sides for a couple minutes, depending on the size or the cut. You can also grind it up and add it to your ground beef. But balsamic vinaigrette will soften it up because muscle is very dense. Heart muscle is very dense tissue. So balsamic vinaigrette, like marinating it in the fridge overnight, can be good to soften it up. Thank you for the super chat, Ryan. Do you think America will reach peak fat at some point and go down? Or do you think we will become like people in WALL-E? Peak fat. Jeez. Like now? I mean, I don't think people are going to get less fat. As long as people keep on buying into the mainstream narrative and keep on eating soy and bugs and peas and these fake ass fucking burgers and claiming that eggs cause blood clots and shit like that I'm seeing on the internet. I don't know if that's a troll or, I mean, it's definitely complete bullshit nonsense, but I don't know if that's a troll or a joke that kind of spiraled out of control, or they're just trying to cover for gene therapy. Hint, hint. So let's see. Where's my soundboard? Yeah, there we go.
The attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science.
I mean, I think we already are the people in Wally. So things usually get worse before they get better. Do I think people get less fat? Not yet. These things take generations. And it's going to come from the bottom. It's going to come from people. You know, I always say it has to start from the bottom. I don't think, but I think at this point it can't, which means like, can it start? Is it going to ever start from the top? I don't know. I don't know if it can start from the top, but I don't think it can actually be reversed from the bottom. But here's like the multi-generational theory. Like humans are kind of creating in our country, like their own natural selection. So you have people that are trashing their bodies, morbidly obese, people cutting off their body parts, sterilizing themselves, eating garbage food, having trouble reproducing, or being so woke and they're like afraid to have kids and like, yeah, well, they don't want to do it. Some people really don't. That's fine. But you know, those people aren't going to be reproducing. So they're going to kind of wean themselves out of the gene pool anyway. And eventually you'll have more healthy people that, you know, perpetuate our society here, I suppose. But, you know, I don't know. I think that the time frame is a lot longer than people realize. So people were never really healthy in this country. They were less fat, but they were never really healthy. So there's a story that I always talk about that most people don't realize. The father, Hans Kraus, he's usually looked at as like the father of sports medicine. So he figured out that exercise helped people reform their bones and heal broken bones and sprains if they were exercising first and they were more physically active. And he was writing books, and I read these books, and I don't know where I put them. I lost them over time. But he wrote these books about how, and this is like in the 1940s, he was writing how kids in Europe were jumping farther and running faster and throwing balls farther than the United States. He was talking about the United States being obese and fat and stuff like that in the 40s. The same way we talk about it today, he was talking about it like almost 100 years ago. So it's nothing new, right? 4 out of 5 doctors recommend camels. I mean, we weren't healthy then either. We were just less morbidly obese because we weren't sucking down vegetable and seed oils and processed sugar to this extent. But, you know, there were a lot of other issues that people were, you know, subjecting themselves to. So, you know, now we have entitled generations, more and more compounded entitlement. So I don't know. There's going to be a swing. Like the society is going to continue to decay until people actually get their shit together because they have no other choice. And then those generations are going to beget, you know, more resilient generations, right? Hard times lead to, you know, hard men, that kind of thing, fourth turning shit. So it's just going to take time. It's going to take time. We're used to things happening fast, but I think this is something that it's just going to take decades and decades and decades. I don't think we're going to see any of these positive changes in our lifetime, but doesn't mean we can just roll over and pretend like it's not stupid and it's not disgusting and we can't just we have to play our part and then we're going to be gone. So while I'm here, I'm going to spread the message and call people out on their bullshit while I'm here, and then someone else will have to do it. Giovanni, thank you. Definitely going to just eat more organs and steaks instead of trying a protein blend supplement. You'll benefit more. You're getting more information. You're getting more data. You're getting more micronutrients from whole foods than you are from a protein supplement, which is like eliminating a lot of those things and just giving you those specific things. You're better off getting that. Cal, would you recommend a vitamin D supplement if you live in a gloomy place, the UK? I would personally. Yes. Let's see here. All right, midnight. Hey, Papa, I've seen that more exercise is recommended to lower HDL cholesterol, but I can't. You don't want to lower I would. Okay. But I can't find a definitive list of foods. Lowering cholesterol is bullshit. Read The Great Cholesterol Myth. It's a great book. It's in the Amazon store. Read it. The high cholesterol shit is nonsense. You might have had a typo there too. There's many different types of cholesterol that are not tested appropriately, and high cholesterol does not mean what has been perpetuated over the past 60 years. They just want to put you on a statin. Carson, Papa Swolio, what do you think medically prescribed TRT for the average man is good, or should they try to eliminate estrogens and move more? Well, you always want to do things naturally before you start, because once you start doing TRT, you can't go back. So you always want to give yourself the best lifestyle habits possible first. Talk to your doctor. Cal, someone reported me at work for sharing an Andrew Tate video telling people to be the best version they can. Yeah, well, what's happening with that lately? He got swept under the rug fast, right? Shut him down real quick. Yeah, super sketchy. A lot of smoke and mirrors there. Phytophrenic. Papa, so I live in Michigan. The sun hasn't been out more than one day or a day in the past month. My gym has tanning beds or any benefit. I supplement vitamin D, but miss toasting my nips. I don't know. Are there benefits? I think there are for mood. A lot of times people, get prescribed stuff for tanning beds for like depression, for like seasonal, seasonal affective disorder or something like that. One, you could fucking move from Michigan. Jesus Christ. I feel like I knew this once. I knew this at one point, but I'm not 100% sure if it's generally recommended now or not. So if anyone has any other information, I had this knowledge in my head at one point, and then I just forgot it. Lawson Dawson. Should I do sauna before or after a lift session? Does it even matter? Yeah, I would never do it before. I wouldn't dehydrate myself, and I would zonk out if I do sauna first. I would absolutely do it after, personally. Yeah, it's not the cholesterol that's the problem. It's the inflammation. So if you want to improve just cholesterol, I mean, eat beef, whole eggs. Like people that just eat egg whites, you're fucking stupid. Fuck your egg whites. Eat the whole damn egg. Or fuck the whites and just eat the yolk. Get some quality foods. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, I'm telling you, read that book, The Great Cholesterol Myth. It blows that fucking shit right out of the water. Stelios Alexakis, Papa Soy, how can I convince my girlfriend to join the gym with me? I want it so we could spend more time together. Well, you can change the person that has that title, and then she'll go to the fucking gym with you. Oh, Papa going super based.
We choose truth over facts.
Get a new girlfriend. All right. How can I convince? Well, does she go to the gym at all and she just doesn't want to go with you? Here's a couple things. The gym is also really good private time for yourself. So a lot of guys want to be with someone that trains, but they also want to go to the gym by themselves. Doesn't mean you can't go to the gym at the same time, but maybe you're not training with the other person. You kind of go and you have like separate togetherness. You're both at the gym. She's doing a certain exercise. You're focusing on you because you like to go in your own little world, and maybe you're in different places. You do different exercises. That's fine too. Have you talked to your girlfriend? Have you talked to your girlfriend? This is a question from Instagram. So one, I'm assuming you've had this conversation with her, because asking me without having this conversation with her that's not going to make any progress. So I'm curious as to what the issue is. When it comes to going to the gym, period, or getting someone into fitness, I've tried, I've done it. It can work, but it's not worth your energy. A lot of you will have this experience. It's just not worth stressing yourself trying to get someone to start taking better care of themselves. A lot of times you'll want your significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, you want your parents or your friends and this to take better care of themselves. You come across great information, you want to share it with them, but people have to be receptive. They have to be in the right state of mind. And most people are so disconnected from their fucking humanity that it's just going to fall on deaf ears. It's going to frustrate the fuck out of you trying to encourage someone to do better for themselves. So understand that wherever you are, if you're listening to this podcast, you are on, let's say, step 56, all right, to their step 0. They haven't even started. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're listening to this consistently, you are being exposed to a lot of, I'm not giving you everything. I don't know everything, but I'm giving you a lot of insights and places to look and concepts that you're not going to hear in most places. So you're already exposed to a lot of things. You've done an elimination diet. You're leaps and bounds ahead of other people. So you have to think back to when you were at step 0 and you just came across. There's a lot of times the wheels spin like a train that's at a station. The wheels spin, takes a little bit of time to catch. So a lot of times people haven't hit rock bottom enough, and you care about them. So you want them to take action. You want them to listen to you. You want them because, they trust you or blah, blah, blah. But people usually take this as an attack on their identity, they kind of internalize it and wrap it up into their own lack of self-esteem and fear of the unknown and discomfort of getting out of their safe space and their comfort zone and shit like that. So kind of hard to convince someone. It really is. You can encourage them. You can invite her. You can really tell her how important it is to you and you'd love to do this together. But if she's like pulling back and not really wanting to, I don't really hate to say it, but those kinds of relationships, like you're at a point where that's a very fundamental rift. If someone doesn't train, if she just loves to train by herself and not train with you, maybe you can work something out and do other things. I mean, I understand that too from someone who takes their fitness seriously, but it's, if you're in a relationship, especially if it's a relatively new one and you take care of yourself and the other person doesn't, it's not going to work out. Especially if you it's really, really hard. And some of you have come across and had the swole epiphany, you got swole pilled and you've been with someone for years and years and they just keep trashing yourself. And it's something you have to compartmentalize. It's just not comfortable and not easy. Jose, my eating habits have not been great, so that's why I've been doing keto, since it does help me stay consistent without the feeling of having to starve myself. Are there any vitamins you recommend? That doesn't give me any more information. So your eating habits have not been great, so that's why I've been doing keto. Well, keto is not an answer. That's not necessarily a good option. And keto doesn't tell me what you're eating. I don't care about keto. Keto is irrelevant. Vitamins has nothing to do. Organ meats, grass-fed organ meats, liver, heart, bone marrow. I don't know what keto is. These are just buzzwords that don't mean anything. What's the foods that you're consuming? Also, my sleep has been terrible lately. I've been randomly waking up in the middle of the night. Yeah, probably because of your terrible food and other habits. Have you done an elimination diet? I forget what your original question was, to be honest, Jose, but it's time for you to get to the basics. Have you downloaded the 7 pillars? Have you read those? Have you checked those out? It's time for you to get down to the fundamentals and really get your habits in order. It'll make a huge difference in your life. And plus, when you get more sleep and you are eating better quality foods, you don't have as much brain fog. You can think more clearly. You plan better. You execute better. You stick to habits better. Hydration, proper, satisfying nutrition. Midnight's follow-up question. What recommendations do you have for foods to lower inflammation? Check out the elimination diet. Cut out these highly inflammatory foods, ultra-processed food, vegetable oils, seed oils, gluten, grains, processed sugars, right? Pasteurized dairy. Most vegetables, like seriously, go animal-based or carnivore. Cut these things out. Do an elimination diet for 6 to 8 weeks. Test these things one at a time. It'll change your life. It'll change your life. A lot of these questions are for some of you. I've seen your name a lot. And for some of these questions, we've gone over this stuff many, many times. We have a lot of blogs and stuff on the website, on Swolenormous X. Time to make those fundamental changes. Always go back to the 7 pillars, right? Always go back to the 7 pillars and make sure you're crushing those basics. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Steven, I have a friend who, when she tries to eat meat, it makes her sick, but she wants to eat meat, the other meat that doesn't. It heavily processed, like cheap. That's bullshit. Real food, like quality meat, makes her sick, but processed garbage doesn't. I don't buy that at all. That doesn't make any sense. If that's what you're saying, that's bullshit. Oh, Midnights. I was in Swole X a few years ago. Sounds like I'm turning into a beesh and need to reactivate my membership. Yeah, how come you left? There you go. It sounds like I'm turning into a beesh. Why? Yeah. Well, we have all that stuff. We have all the recipes, and we have our accountability meetings, our roundtables. Like, we can get really deep into individual issues. I mean, you're here on the show, but a lot of these questions are very detailed and very individualized. When it comes to nutrition, like, this is why you have to do this work yourself when it comes to the elimination diet. And that's why it's very individualized, because everyone's going to react differently. Some people, if they eat certain vegetables, they might not feel amazing, but they might not have crazy bloating and migraines and issues. Some other people will have terrible outcomes. So the severity of these negative effects will vary from person to person. So there's a lot of individuality there. It doesn't make it better to eat certain foods, but some people will have serious negative side effects, while others might just be like, I feel fine. Some people are more resilient for certain foods, and some people will have like the slightest little bit of something. They'll have a crazy migraine for a couple days. So there's a lot of variability. Mattia Marotta. What can I do if my mom doesn't respect my dreams and objects and doesn't help me? Well, that sucks. One, it doesn't matter. I don't know how old you are, but you are your own individual person. If you're living under your parents' roof or your mom's roof and they're covering for things, then you need to get your own job and get your own life and get the fuck out. That's just straight up. You need to become your own person. But if they're paying for the rent and they're paying for all your stuff, then, what are you going to do? Talk shit and then accept money. So you have to break away. That way no one can control you. You need to control yourself. Again, what can you control? If you're living in your mom's house, then she makes the rules. Otherwise, get the fuck out, right? So get your own job, make your own money, and follow what drives you. A lot of times people pass on insecurities or things that were passed on to them from their parents. But I don't know what your dreams are. It's from Instagram. So respecting your dreams. At the same time, maybe from her perspective, maybe it's subconscious, but maybe she's just wants you to be safe and make money. And then she doesn't understand. A lot of like older generations, they don't understand the rapidly changing times. My parents at first didn't understand, like when I was just like obsessed with training. It was kind of like a weird thing. Like I was taking creatine, like, oh my God, creatine, it's so dangerous. This is back in like the late 90s. People, it wasn't as mainstream fitness as it is now. So, I was doing things a certain way. So I was more of like an outcast, I would say, or, first person like in the family that was like, no one else like lifted weights and did this like bodybuilding type shit. I was like obsessed with the gym and training and all that. But if you want to do your own thing, then you have to be your own person. You have to pay your own way. You have to plot your own course. So you need to get out from any kind of responsibilities or dependency, and it doesn't matter. All right. Let's see. Exo Gamboa, favorite pre-workout as of right now. Ooh, give me some black coffee. Motherfucker. Let's go.
I give it a 10. A 10. A fucking 10.
Also, if you're going to make your pre-workout, you're going to use active ingredients. You could buy the raw ingredients. So you could use things like beta-alanine, citrulline malate, agmatine, some of these things to get a better pump. And by all accounts, I haven't seen anything like it's unsafe. But if you want to mix those things, then I would just buy the raw ingredients. But then in terms of like caffeine or a stimulant, just like a cup of coffee. Don't be taking 200, 300, 400 milligrams of caffeine. not good for you. Most of these things will jack you out of control. They're so bad for you. They're so bad for you. All these like energy drinks, like they're so fucking bad. They're so bad. Derek, what's the latest you would eat before bed? Give yourself a few hours. It depends on what you're eating too. But usually I would just say like you want heavier meals earlier in the day. So it really depends on what time you go to bed. If you go to bed at 7, then obviously you're not eating at 6:45. So I would just make sure you're finishing up eating a few hours. And see, everyone's different. Some people really, will feel full for a long time. It also depends on how much you eat. But generally, I would make sure you're trying to eat at least a few hours and see how you feel. Cassie, I've been bloated for over a week because of a slip back into dairy. What kind of dairy have you tried? What kind of dairy was it? The type matas, that's for sure. All right, let's see. Bass Wrangler, Papa Swolio, is it okay to skip the gym if I'm training to crush my enemies with extreme violence of action? Is it okay to skip the gym if I'm training to crush my enemies with extreme violence of action? One, don't commit any acts of violence, period. I'm just going to say that because it's a public stream. I don't understand what that means. Like, what kind of training does that entail? Like, are you going to a shooting range? I mean, that's great to practice. If you own firearms, you should practice training with them, not on other people, but on targets in a safe environment, proper handgun and rifle etiquette. And no, it's not okay to skip the gym. So fuck all the way off. Do both.
Go fuck yourself.
My goodness. These questions. Frank, have you ever priced out making your own electrolytes mix? My buddies are trying to figure it out. I guess Element has a recipe online. I mean, they tell you how much they put in. It says it on the back. Have I ever priced it out? No. No, I haven't. You mean to sell or just to make it myself? I mean, I have magnesium. I have like individual ingredients that I can add. But I'll take Element or Relight, and then before I go to sleep, I'll take extra like magnesium glycinate. What context are you asking? To make my own? I've thought about like getting into that or making. I might make my own. I have some plans. It's just another whole. It's a whole other thing. I just haven't made those moves to do it yet. Midnight's Anthem. Honest answer: a lot of the diet tips went against the vegan lifestyle I followed for so many. Oh, wait, the reason why you left the Swole fam. A lot of the diet tips went against the vegan lifestyle I followed for so many years. I'll never go back to that echo chamber. LOL. Happy to be back here in the Swole fam. Oh yeah. Well, there you go. All right. Well, welcome back. Indeed. And the diet tips will continue to go. Just because I'm not eating vegetables too, doesn't mean that you can't. I just don't recommend it. And again, when it comes to specificities with nutrition, the more issues that you have, right? The more health problems you have, the more serious or the more extreme you should go. If you're but my point the other day was that a lot of people don't realize how bad their situation is, even if they don't consciously notice like, hey, I have, skin issues or eczema, psoriasis. If you have serious autoimmune issues, then you should really clean out most things. But when you have context, once you actually do this kind of stuff, a lot of people that think that they are doing pretty good, they don't realize how bad they're actually doing. And I know that from personal experience. So, Frank, to make for ourselves to save money in shipping. Well, I mean, you can, but it depends. I mean, sometimes you're not saving that much, or you'll pay a lot more upfront. Like you'll spend a lot more, but it might last you longer. Like you can mix these things yourself. You could buy the raw ingredients and just get a scale. How much it'll save you for the convenience, that's up to you. That's up to you and your personal desires for effort and your financial situation. But yeah, usually when you buy the raw ingredients, you mix things yourself, rather than buying something that's already put into capsules. Like you can put things into capsules yourself, but you're going to take a lot of time doing it. So, I mean, you have to also quantify how much time it would take you or depending on how mixing it and stuff like that. Some people just want to grab a packet or take a scoop and boop and take it, and it's worth it. So it depends. It depends, but it could be. I don't know how much you're saving overall, but if you do the math and it makes sense for you, then go for it. All right, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. K-Man Sidhu. We're about to wrap up. Let's see. I need help with knowledge of nutrition as beginning to work out so much info out there. Check out swolenormousx.com and download your copy of the 7 Pillars, K-Man. I would recommend checking out the blog as well. We have a lot of this information. When you download the ebook, there's actually a little bonus offer when you download the ebook that gives you a little more insight if you're interested. For a few bucks, you can get the Nutrition Jumpstart and Elimination Diet information. You could join the Swole fam and have it all with the recipes and everything on our website. But you can also check out the blog. We have some articles about the Elimination Diet. We have tons of episodes and tons of things that we've put out content about. Yeah, but food quality over quantity. Food quality is very, very important. Jesus Christ. Water Slicker. Papa Swolio, would you consider stripping / OnlyFans / generally upping slag content? What the fuck is slag content? Is that something from the UK? It sounds like a British term. I have an Only Swole, so go to onlyswole.com if you want to see some really hot shit. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Could probably make a lot of money on it, but I'll take my chances. They want some fucking people. We got some fucking thirsty swole sluts in the chat today. Sniper Queen, benefits of creatine and protein shake, please. Well, we talked about protein shakes earlier. Creatine is fantastic. You're getting a lot of it in red meat, but creatine is great for potentially increasing strength output and recovery between bouts of short duration, high intensity exercise. Everyone reacts differently or benefits differently from creatine. I think most people that are lifting heavy weights will benefit from creatine, like 3 to 5 grams, maybe more depending on your overall lean mass. The reason why people will maybe feel different, or some people might be like, wow, it was great, like I noticed a difference. Other people might be like, I don't really know, is because everyone tends to have like a resting level of creatine in their body based on what their diets are like. So some people naturally have a little bit more of a higher store of creatine. So for example, if everyone has the same size creatine gas tank, let's say it's a 5-gallon tank. We'll just use that 5-gallon tank with the equivalent of, like, let's say 5 grams, right? So let's say you have let's say every person is born with or has a 5-gallon max capacity for creatine. This is just a very easy way to just generally explain it. Some people might, with their nutrition, might be resting at like, let's say 2 grams. Their body just kind of maintains. So they have room for benefit of 3 grams or so, just a gallon. Like, I'm just really trying to give this concept. Some people might be resting around 4. So they're kind of almost topped off already. So someone that already is kind of topped off, supplementing with creatine, they might not see as much of a benefit. But someone that's like resting around like 2 grams out of 5, let's just say, they're like, whoa, they're going to notice a drastic difference potentially. But I never felt that from creatine. Like, wow, all of a sudden I feel energy in this. But you might notice it depending on what your nutrition is like. If you're already getting a lot of creatine, your body is already kind of more topped off. You're not going to notice as much of a bump. It could just top it off and it's not going to harm you. But someone that might have lower levels of creatine, or they're vegetarian, they're not getting enough red meat, they might notice it a lot more and be like, wow, this really works. So there's that subjective and placebo effect too also. But for people that lift heavy weights, creatine is pretty much a no-brainer. One of the most studied, if not that and probably caffeine are like the most studied supplements, I would say, in terms of like weight training. Where was I going with this? So, but what kind of creatine do you need? You don't need any of that fancy creatine. Just like a micronized creatine monohydrate is totally fine. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need to load. and anywhere. If you're a female, and it's always great to take less. Like you don't just want to jump in taking 5 or 10 grams a day. You know, if you're a dude, start taking 3 and then maybe bump it to 5. If you're a female, start with a couple grams, maybe 3 grams, and then see how you feel. You could always bump it up a little bit more and then see if you notice a difference. And if not, you just tone it back down, then it saves you some creatine. So just make sure you're hydrating and getting everything else in properly. Yeah, raw liver, fantastic. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Connor Breza. We'll take maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Connor, best way to do a deload week after 6 weeks of gym. Best way to do a deload week after 6 weeks of gym, 6 days a week. Let's talk a little about deloads week. I'm not going to give you a direct answer specifically, the best way, because it depends on what you're doing. But here's what I'm going to say about deload weeks. We have those in the programs, but I will tell you this. Most people don't train hard enough to warrant a deload. Deloads are not required at the same time point for everyone. It really depends on the intensity and depends on what you're doing. A lot of people don't train hard enough and then deload from not even providing enough overload. Just saying. A lot of people don't even cause the overload required in order to stimulate muscle growth. And then they're taking a deload from not even doing it properly. So, yeah, Lacey, that's a good point. But also for someone who's new to training, they don't have that context. So I'm going to minimize this a little bit, bring it up. And I want to bring, Lacey's comment up and we'll talk about that a little bit. Okay, I'll slide that up to the screen a little bit. So Lacey says, I do them when I need them. Oh, they aren't programmed. Lacey, how long have you been training? Like overall? Just for context. So Lacey's been training for what, 20 years, 30 years, 15 years? It's been a while, right? Lacey does strongman competitions, 20 years. Strong person I don't want to assume your gender, Lacey. I don't want to.
Emotional.
Strong person.
Damn it.
Is that what we call it now? Strong person competition. Strong thing. Strong they. Is that appropriate? So Lacey says, and she's not wrong, I do this as well. I do them when I need them and they aren't programmed. So this is for me too. So last couple days, I've been training really hard. So the last couple days, I've just been doing some swinging. I felt a little run down. Remember I said I did the neti pot and like I was congested yesterday. So my pressure, so I was still training. I was still doing some like swinging and stuff. I've done some like Persian meals and just swings and mace and club, but I haven't done like heavy weight training. But today I'm going to train. I feel really good. So my congestion's like gone, a little bit of a sniffle. I feel great. So didn't really take me out, but my sleep was a little bit because that first night I got garbage sleep, and that really is not acceptable when it comes to training. So I take active recovery days. I still swing, I still move my body, but I'm not going high intensity, lifting fucking heavy and squatting heavy, but I'll still train. I just shift what I do. If I'm really banged up, I'll just do some mobility and I'll do sauna and cold plunge. That still counts as training. I stay consistent. Pillar number 7. I just don't push myself to my limit. So I fluctuate and I'll stay there for a day, maybe 2 days if I need it, maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days. I usually don't need that because I always have a base of mobility and I'm really paying attention to my base as a recovery, getting quality sleep, nutrition. So I don't need tons of time off, but I'll take a downshift day or an active recovery day or more of a swinging day or a lower intensity day whenever I need it as a buffer between my next workout session, my next intense workout session. And if I need another day, I just do another day. And that might depend on the weather or pressure drops or something happens, or I didn't get good sleep, so I just feel more run down. But sometimes I'll like, maybe my sleep wasn't as good as I would have hoped, but I feel good. I'm going to train. All right. So I'll do it again. I listen to my body. That's why I don't need that Whoop strap thing. I bought that like a couple of years ago and I used it for like a little, it didn't register a lot of the time. It left marks on my fucking wrist. And I didn't really care about the data. It's like, ooh, your recovery was this number. You can train hard today. It's like, fuck you. I'll train hard because I want to. I don't need you to tell me, oh, your recovery wasn't that good. You shouldn't train hard today. Fuck you. And I have great, amazing workouts. So I stopped listening to that fucking thing. I never did. I just looked at it and observed it because I was curious because people were talking about it. And this is like at the beginning of like the lockdowns in 2020. I was like, what the fuck? Let me just try this. You know, had a little bit of extra time. I was like, all right, let me try this thing. What the hell? Nope. Just didn't stick. So anyway, if you're more in tune, you're paying attention, you don't necessarily need to do it after 6 weeks. So an arbitrary deload. The reason why in the programs like 90-day dash or swole season, the reason why there are like downshift weeks, the reason why there are these like recovery weeks or these swing weeks is to educate people and educate members that these things exist. So you can experience what it's like to go from like intense training to like one of these like, transition weeks and then shift back into it. And really what that's trying to do is educate people on listening to their body. Because a lot of times what's very common is that you get momentum. You get momentum for training hard. And then when you do downshift, and a lot of you probably experience this, you downshift a little bit, do some active recovery, and then you realize, oh my God. And then your body, you kind of crash because you had so much momentum, physiological momentum of training hard and training hard and training hard and training hard. Once you kind of slow down a little bit, and you have this with work, like our errands, right? You're running around all day and then you just have energy, boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden you slow down a little bit. And then you just fucking crash. So it's learning how your body works. And then you start to learn, you start to learn the signs of when you need recovery, even when you feel great in the back, or you're like, you have this little voice. You're like, something, I feel like I need a little bit. So then you learn to pull back a little bit before you have that crash. So then it becomes like maybe like a day. So for me, I know when I need a little bit of like a breather, okay, I'll just do some more mobility, go swing the mace a little bit. No big deal. Eat healthy, sauna, plunge. That's a great day. And then the next day I feel great again. I can train hard again. But if I kept on pushing that for another week or two, I might just, you injure yourself or you burn the fuck out. And then it takes you a long time and you just really don't feel like training. And it's a real drag because you overdid it. But after training for this long, I've learned those signs. I've learned what my body needs. So there is no best way to do a deload week. You can do yoga. You can do mobility. For Connor's question on Instagram, you can do like active recovery. You could just do some walking. It depends on how hard you've been going. For 6 weeks, you're not going to cause as much damage as you think to need just time off. So my personal approach to this is, I don't care if it's Monday. I don't care if it's Thursday. I don't care what day of the fucking week it is. I integrate it consistently more often rather than taking a whole week of just deloading. For me now, I'll integrate it like, I just need I push really hard. Okay, one day, a little space, and then I come hit it again. And then maybe it's another day here and there. And I'll space that whenever it's required. I don't hold myself to any strict thing because one of the worst things that I used to do, one of the things I used to do is I would take a deload when I felt fucking awesome. I was like, no, I want to keep crushing. No, I want to keep crushing. And that's psychologically a bummer when you're on a roll and you're hitting new records and you really want to keep going. And then you're forcing yourself to slow down. You're like, fuck. And it gets people to resent mobility. It gets people to resent active recovery. If you force yourself to do it when you feel fucking great, because maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should keep on pushing. And then the next week you should do it, or the week after. So I think you have to experiment, and everyone's going to be different. But arbitrary deloading and arbitrary downshifting can be a downside, because I think a lot of people perceive their training to be a lot harder than it really is. And if you integrate it more, this is why all the programs in X have like resistance day and then yoga day and then another resistance day and then yoga day. It's integrated in all the programs. And that's what we always say, like, hey, this downshift week or this transition week, like you don't necessarily have to do it. And we always say, if you're in the middle of a phase and you feel like, hey, I'm burnt out, then you hop back to a transition week and you deload. So you have that option in all of our programming, plus it's integrated throughout the week. So you're going to get sore, you're going to train hard, but you're also not going to do it 4 days in a fucking row. And someone like Connor, the average person that goes to the gym for 6 weeks, 6 days a week, they're not doing yoga. They're not doing mobility. They're not sleeping properly. Their nutrition is subpar. So they're not doing these 7 pillars. They're going to the gym and overloading themselves, but they're not doing all the other things to complement that kind of a training protocol. So I say I train every day. Papa Swole, you go to the gym every fucking day? I train every day. I don't PR every day. I don't push myself to the fucking nines every day. I don't max out and destroy myself every day. I train every day, but training is also the recovery. Training is also the repair. Training is also that foundation. And a lot of people just think of training as lifting weights. Long answer, but I think that required it. We'll end it there because that was a good rant. And Lacey's comment was perfect timing for that. Perfect timing. Lady Hawk, oh man, 2 years to recover from vegan damage. Someone said 2 years. It took them. I just started eating seafood again last summer and chicken about a month ago. After over a decade without, today will be my first steak. Ah, yes. Steak will make you ditch those weak birds. Chicken just sounds... Yeah. I don't eat vegetables. Chicken's a vegetable, by the way, fam. Chicken is a vegetable. Eat some beef. Go to the fucking gym. Jessica, I'm literally only a few weeks into eating meat again, but I can feel improvement already. Good for you. Good for you. Everyone enjoy your steak today. Enjoy your steak. Let's give away this Execute More. And we'll see you tomorrow for the accountability meeting, 12 noon Eastern time, sluts. Making sick fucking games. Making sick fucking... Well, perfect timing. Lacey, congratulations. Congratulations. Lacey with an Execute More. All right, Lacey, Swole Slut and Dick Draft General. Send us an email to support@swolenormous.com, swolecard 2466 in the subject, your mailing address in the body of the email, and we'll send you the Swole card. Congratulations, Beaches. Or Beach. But all Beaches. Everyone's a winner today. If you make sick fucking gains, you're a winner too. All right, as we bring this to a close, you want to submit a question, head on over to askpapaswolio.com and call in. We'll get back to more questions publicly on Tuesday. Tomorrow's episode is private for members only, like we talked about at the beginning of the Sleaze Cast. Tomorrow, February the 6th, 12 noon Eastern time. Join us, swolenormousx.com. We have awesome specials. Fuck Your Resolution season is still chugging along. Join us tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time. And let's get a little Tainty Man. Aww. And a little church. Ah, yeah. Lacey says a strong them is what I'd like to be referred to as from now on. Lacey's a strong them. Strong them. Got it.
Why don't you get the hell out of here before I snap your dick off and jam it into your ass?
How about that?
How shall we fuck off, oh Lord?
Fuck all the way off.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
Fuck your own face. Oh, look at that Tainty Man.
Oh.
He's on fire. Roasting, baby. Roasting.
He's on fire!
The more you hate me, the more you will learn.
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
Lady Hawk. Lacey identifies as strong self.
Shut up, bitch!
I love you. Coast to coast. I love you. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. All right, fam. Thanks for being here. I'm just teasing you, lady. Fam.
Loud noises!
It was a wonderful Q&A. It started off a little bit janky today. It was a little bit weak, but it kind of came back around. And I want to thank Instagram for not being a huge pile of dog shit. The live questions, awesome. And thanks for being here. Tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time, we will have our accountability meeting. And then back here. Oh, before we go. No, look, a lot of people left. I almost forgot. I do have one video to play for you. One video from TikTok. People left. This is why you don't leave. You don't leave at the end. I do have a little bonus. I saw this and I wanted to play it for today's episode because it was funny. So it's not a shit post. It was just a funny thing I thought to share. Here we go. You ready for this? Bonus. Yay.
What's in the box?
All right, here we go.
I'm pro-life. There's two genders. All lives matter. Women and men have equal rights. There's no such thing as systemic racism. COVID was made in a lab in China. I'm not vaccinated. Trump 2024. All right, if you're just listening, this guy on the text on the screen says POV, point of view. It says you tried to speed run getting canceled. So he's just laying there saying everything possible to try to get canceled online. So yeah, I thought this was funny. Thought it was funny because it's true. All right. Thank you so much for being here. In closing, that was a good video. We'll see you tomorrow for maybe we'll play that. Maybe that'll be part of like the show. We'll just play that all the time. Be a soundboard. We'll just do the soundboard. I'll be like, this could be one of the new ones. Do it again. I'm pro-life. There's two genders. All lives matter. Women and men have equal rights. There's no such thing as systemic racism. COVID was made in a lab in China. I'm not vaccinated. Trump 2024.
I am the danger.
All right, fam. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow at the accountability meeting and back here for the live stream on Tuesday. Before you go, hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't yet left us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, leave us 5 stars if you enjoy the show. Share the show with your friends. And think of it as electronic knowledge cock slapping. So if they don't listen to you, maybe they'll listen to some bearded psychopath online. Just maybe. I'll be happy to yell at your family and friends. Thanks for sharing the stream. And we'll see you tomorrow for the meeting. Peace, McGee's, Deuce Magoose, your boy, Papa Swolio. Out.
Crazy flow, need a straight jacket. Cash flow, I'm a bank addict. 6 subs, had the bass smacking. 808s, had the place clapping. 3 girls is enough for me, so I pull out like the stock crashing. Like an IPO, trying to purchase me. This a private sector, so you can't have it. Faking all that boom bapping. Who you think you is, boy? 90s want they sound back, so I give rap all these fake rappers as I take matters in my own hands. I don't need rapping, I don't need Zans. I don't need help, I'm a grown man. Now they king left and they so mad, it's like
Then yeah, I found that young king with my crown at 10 racks in the fanny pack, couple hundred in the Louis bag.
That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you made. That's a bed that you laid. That's a bed that you laid. What kind of game is you playing? We go hard in the paint, yeah. What the fuck is you saying? I only go where they pay. What kind of game is you playing? Yeah, whoa, my shit is relevant. On topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeletons on closets and making new deposits.